I opened my eyes and made landfall. The islands were as crystal-lined as ever, the evening sun casting each in bold relief. All was gold-tipped, lichen, gorse, the purple wash of heather. With an outstretched finger I traced contours in the evening light and detailed the old route to the small green peninsula where I'd make camp. In that flat and peaceful corner of Vatersay rested the abandoned village of Uist. One house stood almost complete, save for its roof, whereas the others had been reduced to their gable ends, scarred with moss. An alive flush of coarse grass fringed the edges, the unkempt and once homed. All had mushroomed, all had flowered. I crossed the narrow neck of land and arrived on the peninsula, cow-trod, rocky, a hive of contours, of bumps, lumps, dips and banks. In the last of the light I approached the still sound that bordered and cupped the outcrop of land. In the water was the bald and mottled-aged face of a seal, its eyes upon the surface, its eyes clear as glass. The water surrounding its head was grey, was slate, was nice. In its eyes I saw ripples, I saw multiples, then it blinked and was gone. There was only rock and water, path and past. There was only what could be remembered, and I had been there many times, both in body and in mind.
First sight of Barra and Ouist.
I looked west along the coast where two beaches, one of sand, one of stone, lay silently at the tide. Once a dog had followed me there, and I threw kelp across the plains of memory for him, where he always returned. All had gone, but all was there, and there I lay my head to rest, for I had a long way to go in the morning.
But yeah, this is the first place I ever camped out here in the Outer Hebrides.
I rose early, and there in that corner of pastoral sweep, where water licked the varied edges, the eternal eyes of a seal studied the breaking of the day as a seagull cawed and floated, dipping its wings into a half-loop above the village, calling communion to all who'd hear. I licked my lips, salt from the minch. I was home. Out of that opening, I set out on a walk. Across the water was the island of Sandray. It lay along the other side of the sound like a sleeping elephant, its body cast entirely in the early morning blue. Its eyes were sleepy, subdued, its fallen shoulders and long black back overgrown and heathered, long since gone of sheep. Across the water the sleepy giant kept a tired watch on my footsteps, which were due west along that waking coast of Vatersay. Up ahead, from time to time, I would sense a presence. It would disappear around corners just before I was able to form a picture of who or what it was, flickering in and out of my periphery. It was as though it held a lamp that held their shape and location in amber, in gold. I was walking on sacred ground there in that birth of morning, and I was the eagerness of the young. Although the figure soon disappeared, I would come to sense the occasional tug in my heart, almost as though they were leading me somewhere. I was, like that place, cast in that brief morning moment where night had gone and day was yet to fully emerge, and all was blue and dewy. Soon, a line of light scored along the ridge, detailing the silhouettes of some dozen cattle. Day was just a moment away. The blue veil lifted, and each distinct colour announced itself within the landscape. The body, both mine and the earth's, trembled, lit up. It was as though the bloodstream was revealed as cross-section, its walls and banks disappearing, tunnels opening, as fresh air landed on all. And all bloomed, within and without. All that had been blue and grey and ghost-like in pallor had found its natural colour, keen in the sunfall, and everything glistened with the same dew, only that dew now contained the sun and the reflection of everything. I saw myself as multiples. I trod through long grass, and it was as though I walked through silk. Water rolled down each blade, mushrooms revealed their wet heads. My fingers tingled, my skin took the sun.
When using the stairways, please use the handrails, and when on the open deck, please do not hold children above the height of the handrail. And when access doors to be opened.
My steps remembered the route, that side of green and rock that gently slipped into what that morning was. Birth. I heard the peaceful drift of water in the sound, and thanked the sleeping elephant for keeping its watch. The route was easy, it slid along beneath my feet. It was merely true west. It was merely towards the sea. There was a hum and a glimmering expectation. My heart grew out far beyond my body. And as that was felt, a gateway appeared overhead, a rainbow. It was born of Mingulay and came to rest somewhere in the northwest of Vatersay.
From there maybe, and going up. That's being sick. Climbing up and down those.
Its body was absent in a growing grey sky that blistered azure at its edges. It was only beginning and it was only end. The rest was to be filled in. I welcomed the challenge. Ahead, at the top of a hillock, was a waymarker. I had often wondered what that waymarker was for, as there didn't appear to be others around, and the Hebridean Way didn't begin for another mile or so to the north. That waymarker was where the collie had first appeared. He had brought a fence post to me, expecting me to throw it for him, but it was twice his size and half mine. He had insisted and actually followed me around for the next 24 hours or so. He dragged driftwood, he dragged seaweed, he slept in the vestibule of my tent and shared a breakfast bar with me in the morning. I had since heard multiple accounts of people being adopted by him, but for a time there, it was just us. This morning, however, I was alone on a walk. I stepped from the rocks and down onto the white sand of Vatersay's south beach. It was cleft and dune, scored with sandy and patchy grass glens of abandoned agricultural tools. There were nets, buoys, creels in their depths. I breathed. A memory moved across my body, over my shoulders and my chest, as out of the mouth of a glen, a lone calf stepped softly down to the water, almost in time with my breath, to where it bent its head to the slow surge of tide, where it lapped at the surf. Soon its mother meandered down to join it, her shoulders heavy and arched protectively towards her young. Another breath, and they had gone, and I passed through, sand cutting against my feet. I was alone on a walk. I heard the tide coming and going behind me, and I brought all I could in time with it. Breath, step, thought, memory. All along my skin, it was as though coming into being for the first time, and it was almost too much to bear. The sun pulled long from behind me and cast my shadow out along the beach to where I was going. Soon I was through the gateway, and all the signs of a long journey start, all the shimmering life punctuating each corner of rock, each blade of grass, each aged fence post, each transition. All of these were waymarkers. How many routes were there, really? This was mine. This was the O.